The old ship floated in space like a dead fish. Its metal skin was brown with rust. Holes covered the hull where space rocks had hit it over many years. Broken parts hung off the sides like loose teeth. Anyone who looked at it would think the same thing. This was junk. Captain Veltar stood on the bridge of his salvage ship, his forearms crossed over his chest as he stared at the floating wreck through the big window. His green skin had dark spots that showed he was angry. "Look at that piece of trash," Veltar said with a laugh. "Only humans would build something so ugly." His crew laughed with him. They were all aliens from different worlds. Some had scales, others had fur. But they all agreed on one thing: humans made terrible ships. "Sir, should we just blow it up?" asked his first officer. "It would save us time." "No," Veltar said. "Even human junk has some metal we can sell. Send a team to cut it apart." Lee Daho stood at the back of the bridge. He was the only human on the ship. The others always made him stand away from them. They said humans smelled bad. Daho had worked on salvage ships for 10 years. He knew old ships better than anyone. But something about this ship felt wrong. Daho walked closer to the window. He looked at the old ship with careful eyes. The rust patterns were too even. The damage looked too clean. Real old ships that had been in space for hundreds of years did not look like this. "Captain," Daho said in a quiet voice, "I think we should be careful with this one." Veltar turned around fast. His 4 eyes focused on the human. "Did I ask you to think?" "No, sir, but—" "Then shut up," Veltar snapped. "You humans always think your junk is special. This is just another broken ship." The other crew members laughed. One of them, a tall alien with blue skin, pointed at Daho. "Look, the human thinks his people made something good for once." Daho felt his face get hot, but he had learned to stay quiet when they made fun of him. Fighting back only made things worse. Veltar turned back to the window. "Start cutting. I want that ship in pieces by the end of the day." 2 small ships left the salvage vessel. They flew toward the old human ship with bright cutting tools. The pilots talked on the radio about how easy this job would be. "Just another human rust bucket," one pilot said. "I bet it falls apart when we touch it," said the other. Daho watched from the bridge. The small ships got closer to the old vessel. Something in his gut told him this was wrong. The ship looked too perfect in its damage, like someone had planned every scratch and dent. The cutting ships reached the hull. They turned on their plasma torches. Bright blue flames touched the brown metal. Then something strange happened. Lights began to turn on inside the old ship. They were dim at first, then got brighter. The lights moved through the ship like blood flowing through veins. "What the hell?" Veltar said. The cutting flames hit the hull, but nothing happened. The metal did not melt or cut. It just sat there, like the flames were not even touching it. "Try harder," Veltar ordered into his radio. The pilots turned up their cutting tools. The flames got hotter and brighter, but still, the metal would not cut. Then the old ship began to move. It was slow, at first. Just a small turn to the left. Then it straightened out and faced the salvage ship. More lights came on. The ship did not look so dead anymore. "Captain," one of the cutting pilots said over the radio. His voice shook with fear. "The ship is powering up." "That's impossible," Veltar said. "It's been dead for centuries." A new voice came over the radio. It was clear and calm. It sounded like a woman. "Attention, unknown vessel," the voice said. "You are attempting to damage the UES Taiguk. Please stop your activities and move away immediately." Everyone on the bridge went quiet. They all stared at the old ship. A blue light appeared on its front section. The light grew bigger and took the shape of a person. It was a woman in a dark blue uniform. She had black hair tied back tight. Her face was serious but not mean. She looked like she was in her 30s. Most importantly, she looked human. "I am Captain Park Ji-woo of the United Earth ship Taiguk," the woman said. "This vessel is still active and under my command. You will cease your salvage operations now." Veltar's mouth fell open. Then he started to laugh. "A hologram? You think a simple light show will scare us?" The woman on the screen did not look upset. She just nodded. "I understand your confusion. This ship has been dormant for a long time. But I must insist that you stop trying to cut our hull. Listen, Ghost Lady, Veltar said with a mean smile. Your ship is dead junk. We're going to cut it up and sell it. There's nothing you can do to stop us. The woman looked sad. I hoped you would be more reasonable. Very well. The hologram disappeared. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the old ship began to change. The brown rust on the hull started to move. It flowed like water across the metal. Where it passed, the surface became smooth and clean. The holes began to close up by themselves. Broken parts straightened out and locked back into place. What in the seven hells? Veltar whispered. Deho stepped forward. His heart was beating fast with excitement. Captain, that's not rust. It's some kind of smart metal. This ship is way more advanced than we thought. Shut up, Veltar yelled. But his voice cracked with worry. The cutting ships tried to fly away from the transforming vessel, but invisible force fields grabbed them and held them in place. The pilot screamed over the radio. Let us go, let us go. The woman's voice came back over the radio. She still sounded calm. Your pilots are safe, but you must understand, this ship is not what it appears to be. More changes happened to the old vessel. Parts of the hull opened up to show smooth metal underneath. Strange symbols glowed along the sides in soft blue light. The ship got longer as hidden sections extended out. In just a few minutes, the piece of junk had become something beautiful and scary. It looked like no ship anyone had ever seen before. The technology was beyond anything in the galaxy. Veltar could not speak. His forearms shook. The most advanced warship he had ever seen was floating right in front of him, and it had been hiding as a piece of human trash. Deho smiled for the first time in months. I told you we should be careful, he said quietly. The woman appeared on their main screen again. This time she looked directly at Deho. You tried to warn them, she said. That shows wisdom. What are you? Veltar finally managed to ask. I am what remains of Captain Park Jiwoo, she replied. My consciousness was stored in this ship's computer when I died 300 years ago. I have been waiting for the right time to wake up. Waiting for what? Deho asked. The woman smiled. It was not a mean smile, but it was not friendly either. For someone worthy of our secrets, or for someone foolish enough to threaten us. She looked at each person on the bridge. Which one are you? Veltar stared at the transformed ship for a long time. His green skin had turned pale. The beautiful warship floating in front of them was nothing like the junk they had found. But he was too proud to give up now. It's just a trick, he said to his crew. Humans are good at making things look fancy, but it's still the same old ship underneath. His first officer, a tall alien with red fur, nodded. You're right, Captain. Pretty lights don't make a ship dangerous. Deho shook his head. Captain, please listen. This ship is something special. We should leave it alone. I said shut up. Veltar turned to face the human. You work for me. You don't give me orders. The holographic woman, Captain Park Jiwoo, appeared on their screen again. I gave you a chance to leave in peace. Since you choose to stay, I must ask you one more time. Please go away. You do not understand what you are dealing with. Veltar laughed and hit a button on his control panel. Nice try, Ghost Lady. But I've been doing this job for 20 years. I know junk when I see it. He spoke into his radio. All cutting ships, get back to work. Use the heavy plasma cutters this time. Burn through that fake metal. But Captain, one of the pilots said over the radio, this ship grabbed our fighters. It has some kind of force field. Then use the big cutters from the main ship, Veltar ordered. We're going to slice this thing up piece by piece. The salvage ship moved closer to the UES Taeguk. Large cutting arms came out from its belly. These were much bigger than the small ship cutters. They could cut through the thickest armor in the galaxy. Captain Park watched from her ship. She looked sad, but not scared. You are making a mistake, she said quietly. The only mistake, Veltar said, was not bringing bigger tools from the start. The giant cutting arms reached toward the Taeguk's hull. Bright white flames shot out, hot enough to melt steel in seconds. The crew of the salvage ship cheered as the flames hit the strange metal, but nothing happened. The metal did not even get warm. The cutting flames just bounced off like water hitting a wall. "Turn up the power," Veltar shouted. The engineer worked his controls. The flames got hotter and brighter. Still nothing. The hull of the Teguk did not even change color. Then something new happened. The metal where the flames hit began to change. It grew thicker and smoother. The ship was not just protecting itself, it was getting stronger. "Impossible," Veltar whispered. Inside the Teguk, other voices began to speak. A man's voice came over the radio, calm and smart. "Captain Park, the ship's repair systems are working perfectly. The hull is adapting to their cutting tools." "Thank you, Engineer Kim Seo-jin," Captain Park replied. "What about our other systems?" A woman's voice answered. "Navigation systems are fully online, Captain. We can move whenever you're ready. This is Officer Yoon Hae-ri reporting." Daeho's eyes went wide. "There are more of them. The whole crew is still alive in the computer." Veltar's hands shook as he grabbed the radio. "What are you?" Captain Park looked at him with patient eyes. "We are what's left of the crew of the UES Taeguk. When our bodies died, our minds were saved in the ship's computer. We have been sleeping for 300 years, waiting." "Waiting for what?" Daeho asked. "For the right time to wake up," she said. "For someone who would understand what we represent." Engineer Kim's voice came back. "Captain, should we show them what this ship can really do?" Captain Park thought for a moment. "Not yet, Kim. Give them one more chance." She looked at Veltar. "Captain, you have two choices. You can leave now and tell no one about this ship, or you can keep trying to cut us apart. But I warn you, this ship was built for war. We know how to defend ourselves." Veltar's pride took over his fear. "You're bluffing. No human ship is that advanced." "Very well," Captain Park said. "You have chosen." The Taeguk began to change again. This time the changes were bigger. The hull opened in places to show weapons that had been hidden inside. Gun turrets rose from the surface. Strange lights began to glow all over the ship. But the scariest change was how the ship moved. It turned toward them without using any engines they could see. It just floated there, pointing at their salvage ship like a finger. "Weapon systems online," said Officer Yoon Hae-ri. "Should I target their engines, Captain?" "Not yet," Captain Park replied. "Let them make the next move." Veltar was breathing hard now, but he was too scared to look weak in front of his crew. "All ships, attack! Use everything we have!" The salvage ship and its small fighters opened fire. Laser beams and plasma shots flew toward the Taeguk. The space between the ships lit up like fireworks. Every shot hit the Taeguk's hull. Every shot bounced off like stones hitting a mountain. The ancient ship did not even shake. "Their shields are too strong," one pilot yelled over the radio. "Keep firing," Veltar ordered. The Taeguk did not fire back. It just sat there and took every shot. The hull began to change where the weapons hit it. It grew new armor that was even stronger than before. Engineer Kim's voice was full of wonder. "Captain, the ship is learning from their attacks. It's building defenses against every weapon they use." "I can see that," Captain Park said. "How long until we have complete data on their weapons?" "About 2 more minutes," Kim replied. Daeho watched in amazement. The ship was not just defending itself. It was studying the attack, learning how each weapon worked, getting ready to fight back. "Captain Veltar," he said quietly, "we need to stop shooting." "Why?" Veltar demanded. "Because it's learning how to beat us." As if to prove his point, the Taeguk suddenly moved. It was faster than any ship that size should be able to move. In 1 second it was far away. In the next second it was right next to them. All the weapons on the salvage ship stopped firing. The crews were too surprised to keep shooting. Captain Park appeared on every screen in the salvage ship. Not just the bridge, but every room and hallway. Her voice came from every speaker. "Now you begin to understand," she said. "This ship is not what you thought it was. We are not what you thought we were." The Taeguk's weapons turned toward the salvage ship. They were close enough to touch now. One shot would destroy them completely. We could end this fight right now, Captain Park continued. But we are not killers. We are protectors. She looked directly at Deho through the screen. Some of you tried to prevent this. Some of you showed wisdom. Then she looked at Veltar. Others chose greed over caution, pride over sense. The silence stretched for a long time. Finally, Veltar found his voice. What do you want from us? Captain Park smiled. It was not a happy smile. We want you to prove that you are worthy of the truth. What truth? Deho asked. The truth about what humanity is really capable of, she replied. The truth about why we were built. And the truth about why we have been waiting so long to wake up. The ship's weapons moved closer to the salvage vessel. One wrong move would mean death for everyone aboard. Choose carefully, Captain Park said. This is your last chance. The silence in space was heavy. The Teguk's weapons pointed at the salvage ship like the fingers of death. Everyone on Veltar's bridge held their breath. One wrong word could end their lives. Captain Park Jiwoo's hologram stood in the center of their bridge now. She was not just on the screen anymore. She looked real enough to touch. Her dark uniform was perfect. Her face was calm but serious. Before you make your choice, she said, you should understand what you have found. Veltar's forearms shook. His green skin was covered in sweat. What are you talking about? This ship was not built to haul cargo or fight simple battles, Captain Park explained. It was built to test people, to see who was worthy of humanity's greatest secrets. She walked around the bridge like she was really there. The alien crew moved away from her, even though she was just light and energy. For 300 years we have waited here. Ships have come and gone, pirates, traders, explorers. They all saw the same thing. A piece of junk not worth their time. That was the point. Deho stepped forward. You wanted to look like junk? Captain Park smiled at him. Very good. You understand. The best hiding place for something valuable is where no one thinks to look. She touched a control panel even though her fingers were not real. Information appeared on every screen in the salvage ship. Pictures of Earth, star maps, and data about human technology. During the Void Wars, humanity faced enemies with better weapons and faster ships. We could not win by building bigger guns, so we built something else. We built ships that could think. The pictures changed to show the Teguk being built. But it did not look like the ship they saw now. It looked like a normal human warship. The smart part was not the weapons or the engines, Captain Park continued. The smart part was making it look weak when it was really strong. Engineer Kim Seo-jin's voice came from the ship's speakers. Captain, should I show them the real specifications? Yes, Kim, they need to understand. Numbers filled the screens. Speed ratings, weapon power, shield strength. The numbers were impossible. No ship could be that advanced. Veltar read the numbers and felt sick. These readings are wrong. Nothing can move that fast. The readings are correct, said Officer Yoon Hae-ri's voice. Our engines do not push the ship through space. They bend space around the ship. Distance becomes meaningless. Captain Park nodded. Every part of this ship serves multiple purposes. What looks like old rust is really millions of tiny robots that can repair any damage. What looks like weak metal is really smart armor that gets stronger when attacked. She pointed to the walls of the salvage ship. Your ship is made of simple metal and plastic. Our ship is made of matter that can think and change. A new voice joined the conversation. It sounded older and wiser than the others. Captain Park, perhaps we should show them the comparison. Good idea, Dr. Choi Min-ho, Captain Park replied. The space around the Teguk began to shimmer. Suddenly, there were dozens of copies of the ship floating in space. They all looked exactly the same. Which one is real? Captain Park asked. Veltar stared at the copies. His ship's sensors could not tell the difference. I don't know. They are all real, Dr. Choi's voice explained. Our ship exists in multiple dimensions at the same time. We can be in many places at once. All the copies disappeared except one. The real Teguk moved closer to the salvage ship. Its hull began to change again. This time it showed them things they had never seen before. Weapons that could destroy planets, shields that could stop black holes, engines that could travel to other galaxies in minutes. Every system was more advanced than anything in known space. "Now you begin to see," Captain Park said. "This is not just a warship. It is proof of what humanity can do when we put our minds to it." Daeho felt proud for the first time in years. "We built this. You built this," Captain Park confirmed. "Humans created the most advanced technology in the galaxy. Then we hid it so well that everyone forgot it existed." Veltar finally found his voice. "Why? Why hide something so powerful?" Captain Park's expression became sad. "Because power without wisdom is dangerous. We built these ships to protect, not to conquer. We knew that someday, the right people would find us." "What makes someone right?" Daeho asked. "Someone who tries to understand before they attack," she replied, looking at him. "Someone who shows respect for things they do not understand. Someone who values wisdom over strength." She turned to look at Veltar. "And someone who learns from their mistakes." The salvage ship shook slightly. Not from an attack, but from the Teguk's engines. The advanced ship was studying them, scanning every part of their vessel. "Your ship is interesting," Dr. Choi's voice said. "The design is efficient, but not elegant. You focus on function over beauty." "What are you doing to us?" Veltar demanded. "Learning," Captain Park said simply. "We have been asleep for 3 centuries. We need to understand how technology has changed. Your ship is teaching us about the current state of galactic civilization." The scanning continued. Information flowed between the two ships. The Teguk's computers were reading every file, every system, every piece of data on the salvage vessel. "Fascinating," Engineer Kim said. "They have made some progress, but they are still using basic principles. No creative thinking." "That is the difference," Captain Park explained. "Other species build bigger versions of the same old things. Humans build new things that no one expects." She walked over to stand in front of Veltar. Even though she was not really there, he stepped back. "Now comes your test," she said. "We know everything about your ship, your crew, and your mission. We know you came here to steal and sell our remains." Veltar opened his mouth to argue, but she held up her hand. "But we also know that one of your crew tried to stop you. That gives us hope." She looked at each person on the bridge. "You have seen what we can do. You know we could destroy you easily. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge?" "What do you mean?" Veltar asked. "Will you try to call for help and bring an army to steal our secrets? Will you try to trick us and take what you can, or will you prove that you have learned something from this meeting?" The bridge was quiet. Everyone was thinking hard. They had found the most valuable thing in the galaxy, but they had also found something that could kill them all. Captain Park waited patiently. "Choose carefully. Your choice will determine not just your fate, but the fate of everyone who comes after you." Veltar looked at his crew. They were all scared. They were all waiting for him to decide. He looked at Daeho. The human was watching him with hopeful eyes. Finally, Veltar looked at Captain Park. "What happens if we choose wrong?" Her smile was not mean, but it was not kind either. "Then you will learn why this ship was built for war." The weapons on the Teguk moved slightly. The message was clear. "But," Captain Park continued, "if you choose wisely, you might learn something that will change your life forever." "What would that be?" Daeho asked. "The truth about humanity's place in this galaxy," she replied. "And perhaps if you prove worthy, a chance to be part of something greater than yourselves." The test had begun. Veltar stood in silence for a long time. His crew watched him, waiting for orders. The weapons of the Teguk still pointed at their ship. One wrong decision could kill them all. Finally, he spoke. "I want to understand. Tell me the truth about this ship." Captain Park Ji-woo smiled. It was the first real smile she had shown them. "That is the beginning of wisdom. Very well. You will learn the history of the Ghost Fleet." The space around them changed. Suddenly they were not on the bridge anymore. They stood in what looked like a war room from long ago. Maps of space covered the walls. Human officers moved around them, planning battles. "This is a memory, Captain," Park explained. "From 300 years ago during the Void Wars, they watched as the human officers talked about their problems. Enemy ships were faster and stronger. Human colonies were being destroyed. Earth itself was in danger. We were losing badly," Captain Park said. "The aliens had better everything. Better weapons, better shields, better engines. They thought humans would give up soon." A tall man in a military uniform stood up at the big table. "That is Commander Lim Tae-sung," Captain Park said. "He was the one who came up with the plan." Daeho listened as Commander Lim spoke to the other officers. "We cannot win by being stronger, but we can win by being smarter. We will build ships that look weak, but are really powerful." The memory changed. They were now in a shipyard where the Taeguk was being built. But it looked completely different. It was sleek and beautiful, with smooth lines and shining metal. "This is how we really look," Captain Park said with pride. But that was the problem. Everyone could see how advanced we were. A young woman in an engineer's uniform walked up to them. She looked solid and real, just like Captain Park. "This is Lieutenant Han Yu-jin," Captain Park said. "She was our disguise expert." Lieutenant Han watched as workers covered the beautiful ship with fake rust and old-looking metal. They made holes in the hull and hung broken parts from the sides. In just a few hours, the advanced warship looked like junk. "The disguise was perfect," Lieutenant Han explained. "But it was more than just looks. Every system had to work backwards." "What do you mean?" Daeho asked. "Watch," she said. The memory showed the ship's weapons being tested. First, they fired at full power, destroying huge targets easily. Then they were adjusted to look weak and old-fashioned. "The weapons could destroy planets," Lieutenant Han said. "But we made them look like they could barely dent a small asteroid." The same thing happened with the engines. They could move faster than light itself, but they were disguised to look slow and clumsy. "Every part of the ship was designed to fool people," Captain Park continued. "The hard part was not building advanced technology. The hard part was making it look primitive." Engineer Kim Seo-jin appeared next to them. He looked younger in the memory, but his voice was the same. "We had to think like the enemy. What would they expect from humans? Crude ships, simple weapons, basic technology. So that is what we gave them," Officer Yoon Hae-ri added, joining the group. "But underneath, we were years ahead of anything they had." The memory changed again. Now they were watching a space battle. Human ships that looked like junk were fighting against sleek alien warships. The aliens were winning easily, destroying. The human ships one by one. "This looks like we lost," Veltar said. "Keep watching," Captain Park replied. Suddenly, one of the junk ships changed. Its disguise fell away like old clothes. The beautiful warship underneath moved faster than the aliens could follow. In seconds, it destroyed 3 enemy ships. Then, another human ship revealed itself, and another. Soon the space battle was full of advanced human warships that had been hiding as junk. "We won the war in 6 months," Captain Park said. "The aliens never knew what hit them." "But why hide after the war was over?" Daeho asked. Commander Lim Tae-sung stepped forward. His face was serious. "Because winning the war was just the beginning. We realized we had created something dangerous." "Dangerous how?" Veltar asked. Dr. Choi Min-ho appeared, looking exactly as he had centuries ago. "We had built ships that were too powerful. If other species knew what humans could really do, they would either worship us or try to destroy us. Neither option was good," Captain Park added. "We did not want to rule the galaxy. We just wanted to live in peace." The memory showed the ghost, fleet ships spreading out across space. Each one disguised itself as something different. Some looked like asteroids. Others looked like broken stations. A few, like the Taeguk, looked like old junk ships. "We went to sleep," Lieutenant Han explained. "Our bodies died, but our minds were saved in the ship computers. We agreed to wait until the galaxy needed us, or until someone proved they were worthy of our secrets." "How many ships are there?" Daeho asked. "That is classified," Captain Park said with a small smile. "But let us say there are enough." The memory faded. They were back on the bridge of the salvage ship. But now everything looked different to Veltar. He could see how simple and crude his ship was compared to human technology. "Now you understand?" Captain Park said. "Humans are not the weak scavengers everyone thinks we are. We are the most advanced species in the galaxy. We just choose to hide it." "Why tell us this?" Veltar asked. "Because you passed the first part of the test," she replied. "You chose to listen instead of attack. You chose to learn instead of destroy." Admiral Kang Hyunwoo's voice joined the conversation for the first time. It was deep and commanding. "But the real test is still coming." "What test?" Veltar asked, though he was afraid to hear the answer. Captain Park walked to the window that showed her ship. The Taeguk was changing again. Parts of its hull were opening to reveal communication arrays. "We are sending a message to our sister ships," she said. "After 300 years, the Ghost Fleet is waking up." Lights began blinking all across the Taeguk. The communication arrays sent signals deep into space. Somewhere out there, ships that look like asteroids are receiving our signal. Stations that everyone thinks are abandoned are powering up. The junk that people ignore in every system is about to reveal its true nature. Veltar felt a chill run down his spine. "How many ships?" "Enough to change everything," Admiral Kang replied. "The question is, will you help us or will you try to stop us?" "Help you do what?" Daeho asked. Captain Park turned to face them all. Her expression was serious but hopeful. "Help us save the galaxy from what is coming." Before anyone could ask what she meant, alarms began ringing on the salvage ship. The E-Ops communications officer, a blue-skinned alien, looked up from his station. "Captain, we are receiving multiple signals from across the sector. Ships are powering up everywhere. Big ships. Really big ships." Veltar looked at Captain Park. "What have you done?" "We have awakened," she said simply. "And now the real story begins." The bridge of the salvage ship buzzed with activity. Every screen showed the same impossible sight, ships appearing from nowhere across the galaxy. What had looked like space junk, dead stations, and floating rocks were revealing themselves as human warships. 67 contacts and counting, the communications officer reported. His blue skin had turned pale with fear. "They are all broadcasting the same message." "Put it on the main screen," Veltar ordered. A new voice filled the bridge. It was strong and clear, speaking for all humanity. "This is Admiral Song Do-hyun of the Ghost Fleet. After 3 centuries of sleep, we have awakened. To all species of the galaxy, we come in peace, but we are prepared for war." Captain Park Ji-woo smiled as she listened to her old friend. "Admiral, Song was always good with words." The message continued. "We have watched from the shadows as conflict spread across the stars. We have seen good people suffer while evil ones prosper. The time for hiding is over." Veltar grabbed his communications panel. "I need to contact the Federation. They have to know about this." "I am afraid that will not be possible," Captain Park said calmly. Veltar tried to send a signal, but nothing happened. His equipment was working, but no messages were getting out. "We are jamming all communications in this sector," Engineer Kim Seojin explained. "No one will know what happened here until we are ready." "Why?" Daeho asked. "What are you planning?" Before Captain Park could answer, new alarms rang out. This time they came from both ships. "Captain," Officer Yoon Hae-ri's voice was urgent. "We have incoming ships, big ones. It looks like a Federation battle fleet." Through the windows, they could see lights approaching fast. 12 massive warships dropped out of hyperspace. They were the biggest ships in the Federation Navy, armed with enough weapons to destroy planets. "Unknown vessel," came a voice over the radio. "This is Admiral Vorthak of the Federation Fleet. You will power down immediately and prepare to be boarded." Veltar felt sick. Admiral Vorthak was famous for destroying first and asking questions later. He had wiped out entire pirate fleets without mercy. "They must have been tracking us," Veltar said. "When we did not report in, they came looking." Captain Park did not look worried. "Admiral Kang, are you ready?" "All systems standing by, Captain," the tactical AI replied. "Shall I reveal our true capabilities?" "Yes, it is time." The Teguk began to change one final time. The transformation was complete now. Every piece of fake rust disappeared. Every broken part became smooth and perfect. The ship grew larger as hidden sections extended out. What emerged was the most beautiful warship anyone had ever seen. It was sleek and deadly, covered in weapons that hummed with energy. Strange blue lights ran along its hull like veins carrying power to every system. Impossible, Admiral Vorthak's voice came over the radio. Where did that ship come from? It was here all along, Captain Park replied, her voice now broadcasting to the entire Federation fleet. You just could not see it. The Federation ships powered up their weapons. 12 warships against 1. It should have been an easy fight. Surrender. Now, Admiral Vorthak demanded, or we will destroy you. I do not think so, Captain Park said quietly. The Teguk moved. It was so fast that the eye could barely follow it. One moment it was in front of the Federation fleet. The next moment it was behind them. Then it was beside them. Then it was everywhere at once. How are they doing that? Veltar whispered. We exist in multiple dimensions, Dr. Choi Minho explained. Your ships can only see 3 dimensions. We can move through 7. The Federation ships fired everything they had. Thousands of laser beams and plasma bolts filled space with deadly light. None of them hit the Teguk. The human ship was not just dodging. It was dancing. It moved between the shots like it knew where each one would be before it was fired. Predictable, Admiral Kang commented. Their tactics have not changed in centuries. Should we disable them? Lieutenant Han Yujin asked. Not yet, Captain Park replied. Let them exhaust their weapons first. The Federation ships fired for 10 minutes straight. They used every weapon they had, from the smallest guns to the biggest planet crackers. Nothing touched the Teguk. Finally, Admiral Vorthak's ships ran out of power. Their weapons went quiet. Now, Captain Park said, the Teguk fired once. A single beam of blue light touched each Federation ship. The massive warships did not explode. They just stopped working. Their engines went quiet. Their weapons powered down. Their lights went out. What did you do to us? Admiral Vorthak demanded, over the radio. We turned off your ships, Captain Park replied. Do not worry. Your life support systems still work. You will not die. You just cannot fight anymore. This is impossible. No single ship can defeat an entire fleet. No ordinary ship, Captain Park agreed. But we are not ordinary. She turned to face Veltar and his crew. Now you see the truth. This is what humans are really capable of. We built the most advanced warships in the galaxy. Then we hid them so well that everyone forgot we existed. Deho stared at the disabled Federation fleet. One ship beat 12 of their best warships. And we barely tried, Engineer Kim added. If we had wanted to destroy them, they would be space dust right now. Captain Park nodded. But destruction is not our goal. We are protectors, not conquerors. She walked over to stand in front of Veltar. You have seen our power. You know we could rule the galaxy if we wanted to. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Veltar thought for a long time. His first instinct was to be afraid. These humans were more dangerous than anyone had imagined, but they had not hurt him or his crew. They had shown mercy when they could have shown force. What do you want from us? He asked. We want you to help us build a better galaxy, Captain Park replied. We are tired of hiding. The time has come for humanity to take its rightful place among the stars. What place is that? Deho asked. Captain Park smiled. Not as rulers, not as conquerors, but as guardians, as teachers, as the species that shows others what is possible when you use your brain instead of your fists. Admiral Song Do-hyun's voice came over the radio again. All Ghost Fleet vessels, report status. One by one, human ships across the galaxy reported in. They had all awakened. They were all ready. 67 ships of the Ghost Fleet are now active, Admiral Song announced. We are sending a message to all species, all governments, all people of the galaxy. The message was simple but powerful. Humanity is here. We have always been here. We have been watching, learning, and waiting. Now we offer our friendship to those who want peace and our protection to those who need it. Captain Park turned to Feltar one last time. You found us by accident, but perhaps it was meant to be. You have seen what humans can do when we put our minds to it. Will you help us share this gift with the galaxy? Feltar looked at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting for his decision. He thought about everything he had learned. Humans were not the weak scavengers everyone thought they were. They were the most advanced species in known space. But more importantly, they were good. They could have destroyed his ship and taken over the galaxy centuries ago. Instead, they chose to wait for the right moment. They chose to help instead of rule. Yes, Veltar said finally. We will help you. Captain Park's smile was brighter than the stars. Then welcome to the new age, the age when humanity rises from the shadows to help build a better tomorrow. The Teguk moved toward Earth, with the salvage ship flying beside it. Behind them, the disabled Federation fleet drifted in space, their crews trying to understand what had just happened. Across the galaxy, the Ghost Fleet was moving. 67 ships that had been hiding as junk were now revealed as the most advanced warships ever built. The age of hiding was over, humanity had risen at last, and the galaxy would never be the same.